It's me, back with another video, but not about the Z, although it's all running fine, there's no problems with her. It's obviously nice and clean and tidy today, because I've just given it its weekly clean, because this is my commuter bike, so I use this every day, so it's always covered in salt, dirt, muck, whatever you want to call it. So it's quite a bit of a handful keeping it clean. I probably will do a video, probably in about 2 months' time. It's going to get a complete summer strip down, so it's going to get stripped down for the summer, for basically so I can just ride it through the sun without worrying. So it's going to get new fork oil. The rear shock I'm going to take off and send back to Nitron for its service, because it's been on there for years, and I do need to change the spring as well, because the spring I think is a bit too hard, because my as you can see, the adjuster there at the back is wound all the way out, so I think the spring needs to change, but they'll probably be able to tell me that, hopefully. It's getting a little bit of wear and tear on it, because it's almost 10 years old now. Got a chip out of there, and I had to put a sticker on there because some bastard in the car park at work must have opened a door on it or something and took a chip out of the tank. So yeah, just the odd sort of little bits of a bit of wear and tear here and there. But the other reason I was kind of almost making this video was because I finished that. So I've finished my dad's bike. So that's my dad's Honda 404, which has taken about 3 years to rebuild, thereabouts. I would say the only reason I kind of made this was because there's a YouTuber called Bikes of Rye, and fair play to him, he is blindly barreling into stuff, which is really admirable. I must admit, I wouldn't do the things that he's doing, but I would say go and take a look. He's putting himself out there, I'll give him that. And he's sort of open to criticism, but he's taken it all on board, and I think he's just taken the engine out of his Thunder Race again, which was kind of the point that I kind of prompted me to make this, because one thing I never do is I never do engine work. I used to be able to do 2 strokes, they were fine, because there is no timing, because it's just up and down, whereas 4 strokes I just wouldn't trust myself with, and I can't get my head around it, to be honest. So what I tend to do is whenever I strip down a bike like this one, I did strip down the engine and got all the casing, speed blasts and what have you, but I gave it back to a guy who knew everything about Honda engines, and it's fine. So he just gave me back a complete engine sort of thing for the sake of a few £100, which I had to cross his palm with. It was just literally a bolt back in job. Again, carburetors, don't know much about them. The same guy that built the engine rebuilt the carbs. He did a beautiful job, and fair play to him. I mean, I gave him what, 5 cardboard boxes full of bits, full of engine bits, and he reassembled them back to what you see there, which is brilliant. And one of the guys off the Ducati forum came to help me balance them. Fucking top bloke, and I might be using his help again, to be honest, because the exhaust pipe was popped off the front of the hyper, so that needs some welding done on it. The RSV is not in the garage, but it is still with me. I'm going to be going to go and get that soon. That had some open heart surgery as well. That had cam chain tensioners done, which was a 6-hour job. Brilliant performance. Cheers, Griff. It was great to watch. So yeah, but this is my dad's 404, which is now finished. It hasn't got very many miles on the clock. There you go, 6,300 and something or other. So it's hardly had that much use in its life. But it's gone through a bit of a retro. It's a bit of a retro mod to a certain extent. One thing I will do is I'm going to get some nice rear Nitron shocks for it, just as a bit of a statement. It's a bit of a personal thing between me and my dad. But one thing that I did do with this is I completely overhauled all of the electrics. So the original, well, I mean, it looks pretty standard there, but it's not underneath. All the original bits, are in there. So that's all the original handlebars, switchgear, wiring loom, other assorted bits of wiring and what have you are up there. So this has got Motor Gadget switchgear, which is nice and subtle and black. You can't really sort of see that much with it, so but it's nice because it's just there. Renthal handlebars, although I might change them because they're a little bit kind of, they're not as straight as I would like, so I might change them for another different type of Renthal bar in the summer maybe. I don't know, I might do. But the guts of it, the other thing is as well with the electrics is all the lights are now low power LEDs. I changed the sort of sticky outy indicators for just some slightly more subtle, smaller ones, which I got on the front and on the back. Again, I might change them for some Motor Gadget ones, but they're bloody expensive, like 100 quid an LED, an indicator or something like that. But the guts of it, if I switch it on, so I sort of changed all the rear bulbs for all nice bright LEDs. But if I just take that off, it's got an alarm on it as well, which is, I just undo that there. So the guts of it is driven by that, which is the Motor Gadget M unit. So that literally, there's a tiny wiring loom running underneath the tank up to the front, and an even smaller one there, which is the back, and that is the entire wiring loom. That's all of it. And it connects to your phone and tells you when the indicators are working and things like that. But yeah, so that's it. That's my dad's bike finish. It was kind of, whenever I've made videos about the Z, it's always kind of been in the background in a sort of semi-built state. I'll try and go from the top. So I changed the wheels. I mean, everything's been stripped down. This goes back to the bikes of Rye Guy. If ever I tackle anything like this, even when it came to the Hyper, when the engine came out on that, when the Hyper motard seized up, again I took the engine out and took it to someone who knew and watched. I don't know if I would do a Ducati engine. There's so much you need to know about them, and even the inline 4 I don't think. But anyway, so I can tackle clutches, generator stuff, chain stuff, brake stuff, frame stuff, fork stuff, yoke stuff, all that kind of thing. I can change all of that. That's fine. But this is the way I tend to sort of build them. But it's the first time I've ever done a wheel respoke. So this had the original, I think it had a Honda XL rims on it, which were like literally cast iron. But these ones are alloy rims with stainless steel spokes, because the original rims and spokes were all pitted and rusted. So that's kind of one of the modifications. So the wheels were a lot lighter. Not the weight is a thing on this thing, because it's literally made out of pig iron. So yeah, everything was cleaned, reblasted, put back together. And while I was kind of building the frame and what have you, and the forks and everything, and doing the brakes and what have you, the engine was being rebuilt, and it is, as you can see there. So anyway, I thought, yeah, I thought it's worth doing a video, just to not that it might not be interesting, because everyone's obviously used to looking at the Z, which, as I say, I'll probably do a video about this when it's completely stripped down. So that's what it's going to be getting. It's going to get a summer service, as I say, so I can use it just through the summer without having to worry about it. It needs an oil change anyway. The sump, although the sump is Cerakoted, it's taken a hiding over the last few years, so I'm going to drop the sump off and get that recoated. The exhausts there are Cerakoted, and as you can see, they're not actually too bad, but when you take them off, they could probably do with a recoat. So I'm going to get the whole exhaust system recoated as well, along with oil change, shock. Might see how much it costs to get the tank resprayed. I don't know, or a complete respray. I wouldn't mind the old Kawasaki orange. But anyway, yeah, that was it. There was nothing more than a bit of a. This was in the background. Now it works again. I don't know if it's going to. In fact, actually, let's just see if it starts. Let's put the choke on. There we go. There we go. the button. Although it might over rev in a minute once it starts getting warmed up. Anyway, that's the old man's 400.